If you spend any time on TikTok or YouTube Short, you probably see often mobile games, usually placed under a Family Guy or other shows. I see a ton of those videos every day and I always wonder, how do they make so many different games? Well, if you try to play them, you will see that they are very low quality and usually full of ads. So I guess that answers why they do so many of them. It's because they make revenue from the ads. But today I'll show how they can produce so many games so fast. The basic idea is that they reuse what they made in their previous games for their next games. To showcase this, I'll make 3 turrets game and you will be able to see how it is easier to make the second 2 once you've made the first one. To get started, I only had to make a turret, road and particle model. These games always have low poly models, so they literally take only a few minutes to make. Then I set them up in Unity and made the turret shoot. Next I added a player controller, so you can control the turret left to right, and random colors because everyone loves color. For some reason, pretty much all of these games have a mechanic where they attach to other turrets, so I did that too. I also added the infamous walls that you have to break, and I put numbers on them just like they do in those games. Then I added spikes and even moving spikes that destroy turrets, so you can't have too many at once. Because when you move, you catch a bunch of turrets and attach them onto you, so if there is no obstacles, then you end up with way too many. Finally, I added particles when the cubes are destroyed, a game over menu, and a retry and next button. I made a few levels and just like that the game is ready, so it only took a few days, and that's because I did it slowly. You can easily do this in one day. I made levels with increasing difficulty by placing more spikes and making them closer to each other, so the player keeps losing turrets. Also on some levels I made one of the 3 cubes have a lower health, so you have to aim for it, but you can't know which one is the lowest HP one until you've seen it. So you have to go blindly, and then when you fail, you take note of the lowest HP one and try to remember the order you have to break them. So you have to remember, for example, left, right, middle. So this way, even though the level is very simple and easy, it still takes a while to get through because you have to find out as you go. Also, because the turrets are always stuck together, if you have like a row of 3 and then attach a 4th one to the left, if you try to go through a hole on the left, you'll lose your turrets on the right, because that left turret will prevent you from moving further and saving them. So sometimes it is better to not pick up a turret unless you have space, or you think you can break more than 1 cube, which would allow you to pass up to 6 turrets. One last touch that for some reason all of these games have too is a stack of cash. You destroy a cube and you get cash. How does that make sense? Well, apparently it does because they all do it, so don't worry about it. I added it and the cash does absolutely nothing, but that doesn't matter. You can see these types of games require a very low amount of effort, but the worst part is how they can reuse most of that to make other similar games. For example, if I make each turret have a number representing their damage and a color based on damage, I have a kind of different game now in just a few lines of code. Also, if I make it so the turrets only attach to each other on the horizontal direction and make them fuse with each other to form bigger numbers, I have yet another game. So this one actually took a bit more effort to make because making them line up and fuse was actually pretty difficult. When a turret is inserted into the middle, it has to make the others go to the right. So each turret has to keep track of both of their neighbors. But still, once the moving and fusing feature was done, I didn't have to do anything else. The spikes are still the same, the walls are still the same, so you can see how reusing code and models can make it so you can make multiple games very fast. And if you notice, all of those games you see in ads are always using pretty much the same models and pretty much the same scripts too. You can see a lot of them, for example, will have a knife that cuts an object. In one game, it will fall onto the object to cut it. In the other game, the object will fall on the knife and cut itself. In a third game, the player will run with the knife and cut them all in a line. So it's always the same code and pretty much the same models. So all you have to do is make a few levels for each of the games, and then I can even add a menu so you can choose which one you want to play, and there you go, 3 completely different games into one. Now I guess I gotta put 100 ads every level and put this on every single mobile app store there is, and then I'll be a millionaire. Thanks for watching, hopefully you enjoyed, and subscribe if you like game dev content.